So Venom, Let There Be Carnage is a brand new movie directed by Andy Serkis. It stars Tom Hardy, again as Venom, and Eddie Brock. Also features Michelle Williams returning, and some new faces, including Naomi Harris and Woody Harrelson. This time around, Eddie and Venom, they're symbiotic, their relationship is a little on the rocks at the moment, and they encounter Cletus Cassidy as Eddie Brock interviews him, and as you see in the trailer, he bites Eddie Brock, and that's how he gets the symbiote known as Carnage, and he just unleashes total carnage as he escapes. So, Venom, Let There Be Carnage was not a movie that I was really looking forward to. The trailers looked fine, but I really did not care for the first Venom movie too much. I remember not really liking it when it first came out, and over the last few years, I kind of just forgot I even saw it. I was like, oh, right, yeah, I remember seeing Venom. I don't remember much from it, but I do remember seeing it. And so I rewatched it to prepare myself for this movie. And yeah, there was a lot about that movie I just did not like. While I did like Eddie and Venom, I didn't really like a whole lot of the side characters, like the villain. I didn't really care for its shifts in tone, and like, what is it trying to mimic? Is it trying to mimic horror movies? Is it trying to mimic, this like 90s movies, or like different types of movies from different years? And overall, it just felt like it was a movie that was trying to be an R-rated movie, and yet was being held back because of its PG-13 rating. And so, even though I was like not really looking forward to this, even though there was a new director involved, I just wasn't really looking forward to it. I was looking forward to Woody Harrelson, was looking forward to more Eddie and Venom, and yeah, this movie really depends on how you felt about the first movie. If you really enjoyed the first movie, you're probably going to really enjoy this movie. If you didn't really like the first movie, you're just going to see all the problems with this movie, and unfortunately, that's kind of how I feel. I see a lot of the problems with this movie. So, to be fair, let's start off with what I liked. Again, Eddie and Venom. I don't know if I like them as much in this one, and I'll explain why in my cons, but they're still really good together, and, the movie's more about their relationship, and it works for the movie. It's fine. Also, Michelle Williams is good. She doesn't have a big role in this movie, unfortunately, but for what she did, she was pretty good. Also, you have Reed Scott returning as Michelle Williams' fiance in this movie. You saw it. He was just a side character in the first movie. Didn't really do much. Here, he's a lot better. I thought he was really good. Also, the actress who played Mrs. Chen, the bodega owner from the first movie, she's back in this movie, and I liked her more in this movie. Also, there's this police detective. I thought he was fine. Like, he was okay in the movie, but yeah, the acting overall is fine. They're slightly better than the characters in the first movie, but that's not really saying much. Also, the tone overall is better. Like, they kind of like had all these tones from the first movies where like, oh, it's a horror movie. Oh, it's like body horror. Oh, it's like all these types of movies, but yet it was all PG-13 and it was just kind of uneven. The tone here is better. Even when they like do a lot of jokes, it's like, it still works. But overall, it's a little bit better tone-wise, I would say. Also, we gotta talk about the end credits scene. That was not something I expected, and I'm really glad that, I didn't see it, I didn't spoil myself before seeing this movie. Because I usually, I try to avoid spoilers, and I'm just really glad. I'll talk about more in a spoiler review. And also, a lot of people complained about the fact that it was only 97 minutes long, which, I was a little concerned about that too, but thankfully, it uses up its time wisely. There's no filler. Everything just kind of keeps moving, and it just, I don't know. I wouldn't say there's no filler, but yeah, there's definitely filler in this movie. But, at least it's short. That's all I can say. As far as what I didn't like, now, even though I did like Eddie and Venom's relationship in this movie, maybe it was a bit too much. Like Andy Serkis said, it was like, oh, they're kind of like the odd couple. And I kind of got that vibe from this movie. And for a while, at first it kind of works, but it just feels forced. It's like at the end of the first movie, he's like, we are together. And then the beginning of this movie is like, I hate you too. It's like, okay, where did this come from? It just doesn't really make sense to me. Also, unfortunately, the villains are disappointing in this one. Oh man, I feel bad because the actors who are playing the villains are actually really good. Naomi Harris as Shriek. I knew from the trailers that they weren't going to use her very much, and unfortunately, that's the case. And her performance, when she's which is weird because when she's quiet or when she's making sound, it's fine. Like, her performance is fine. It's just when she talks, it sounds like she's trying to give, like, an impression of Harley Quinn. It just doesn't work for me. Also, Woody Harrelson. Oh, man, am I disappointed with him. I was so looking forward to him in this movie, and he was disappointing to me. I did not care for him. I did not think he was that great of a villain. He just has every trope for every kind of bad guy. It didn't work for me. Also, like, there's, like, no real evil plan other than just cause chaos. It just didn't really work for me. And, like, there was something that kind of, like, why... It just doesn't really work for me. It's like, why are these two, like, kind of together? I'm like, it doesn't really work, does it, when you think about it? And the movie does bring it up. I'll talk about it more in a spoiler. But it just, like, wait, why? Like, this doesn't really make sense. Like, why would they work? It's like, this doesn't make sense. Like, that's just total chaos right there. I guess that's what Cletus Cassidy is all about. Also, I mentioned, even though, like, jokes are better, some jokes didn't work. Like, there are some jokes that I laughed at that the audience didn't laugh at. Some jokes that the audience laughed at that I didn't. So, I don't know. I just didn't laugh at everything. The jokes are slightly better here in this movie than they were in the first movie. I'll give it that. And again, just like the first movie, it clearly wants to be an R-rated movie. Just make Venom rated R. It's ridiculous. Why isn't Venom rated R? Like, they clearly want it to be. Deadpool was successful as an R-rated movie. Why can't Venom be? I don't know. And as far as the action scenes go, they're okay. I feel like a lot of the action scenes are just kind of like, you know, hit, cut, hit, cut, hit, cut, hit, and it just for a while it just became boring after a while. It's all just a big CGI fest, and it's just kind of boring after a while, unfortunately. There is one fun fight scene between Eddie and Venom. Other than that, most of the action scenes and the fight scenes are just not that interesting. I will say the movie is a lot darker, and I think it does work, but there are just, I don't know, I just feel very uneven about this movie. Kind of like how I felt about the first movie. So, overall, Venom Let There Be Carnage, like I said at the beginning, your thoughts on the first movie are really what's going to drive this movie. If you really like the first Venom movie, well, you're probably going to like this one. If you didn't care for the first Venom movie, you're probably not going to care for this one too. There are some cool surprises, there are some fun moments, there are some good performances, but overall, I just felt let down by a lot of things that happened in this movie. Mainly the villains, mainly the plots, and I just felt like, even though the tone was better, it still felt uneven at times. So overall, I'll give Venom Let There Be Carnage 2 out of 4 stars. Stream it. I'll try to do a spoiler review probably Sunday after people have a chance to see it. So, what did you think of Venom Let There Be Carnage? Also, what's your most disappointing superhero movie? Comment down below, subscribe to the channel, this is Pat, and stay safe.